is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
And good afternoon and welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with, I almost said with Lerone Landis while I'm looking at the late Patti Fink. And
we look so much alike.
You do. Lerone, we're not sure where he is. I think the Alzheimer's walk is today, and I can't remember.
I think he's at another walk.
But I think he's at something else, right? But he's walking. It's a nice day for him to walk. It is Pledge Drive, and we need you to give us a call, 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Josh's are standing by. We have two new fall pledge premiums. For a $100 pledge, we have a black pullover hoodie, and it's a Knon hoodie. It's celebrating 35 years of... Well, it's wrinkled. I can't see what it says.
It's kind of draped on the hanger.
And the other one for a $60 pledge is white on red, and it's the Voice of the People 89.3 celebrating 35 years of DFW community radio. The hoodie, I bet, says the same thing.
I bet so.
I bet it does. And actually, had I just read the piece of paper that's sitting right in front of me, I would have known that.
But it wouldn't have been as funny. I thought that was really funny. So if anyone's listening, they're laughing.
It comes in sizes small through 4X, so big enough for you, Patty.
Yes,
for the girls.
I gotta have room for my girls.
Yeah.
You know.
And we also have a couple of other pledge premiums: a black and white striped beanie and scarf set with the Knon logo on both hat and scarf. That's for a $60 pledge, and it is going to be a cold winter this year.
Very.
We're guaranteeing it.
Okay.
Okay. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Did I say that 3 times? I think so.
Yes.
Well, this is Lambda Weekly. Our guest today is Candy Marcum, who always joins us on first day of Pledge Drive. Thank you for joining us again, Candy.
I wouldn't miss it.
And it's your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You know, Candy is 3 years older than I am, so we were figuring how old, I was figuring how old she is.
Wow.
If I'm 42, that makes her 45.
I was thinking you were more like 33 and he's 30, maybe.
No.
No?
I think the last time I changed my Facebook page, I was 39, and they won't let me change it anymore, so I'm 44. Or something like that, or 42.
I'm so confused now. I don't know how old I am.
Happy birthday. Celebrate it anyway.
Okay.
Are you doing anything for your birthday?
Well, after this, I am meeting some friends and my wife, Carolyn, at Maggiano's.
Nice.
Down Central Expressway. Two exits from here.
It's nice and convenient.
Yeah. And we love Maggiano's, so that's what we're doing, and maybe walking around the mall to see if they have their Christmas decorations up yet, or if it's still Thanksgiving, which I hope it is. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm doing.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful time. It's a great place to go. I love going there.
It's entertaining.
So we were going to talk about two different things. Let's start with the Pittsburgh thing.
Okay.
Everybody knows a week ago yesterday, 11 people were killed in a synagogue in Pittsburgh. I almost didn't know what to say about it. I got to my office on Monday, and everybody was saying to me, oh, you have to write a piece on it. And I wrote something, and my editor said, that is the coldest piece you have ever written. I just didn't know what to say. And then that night, we had a temple board meeting talking about security. And
where does your temple meet?
Our temple meets at North Haven United Methodist Church. And we share a space beautifully. You know, Jews have Shabbat on Saturday, Christians do Sabbath on Sunday. We don't run into each other all year. So it just works.
Yeah.
And we're
And
looking for a mosque to join us because their Sabbath is Friday, and
Right.
it's just
Got it
better
all
use of the
covered.
space. So, and in fact, Friday night at Temple Shalom's community Shabbat service that they held, I was sitting among rows of Muslims who had
Oh,
come.
wow.
The Muslim community is amazingly hurt by this. I mean, they
So
feel
they
like
came
it's
as a show of support.
yeah. Anyway, I got to our board meeting, and sitting in the room waiting for us was a big plant and more than 60 cards that were just beautiful.
Wow.
Some of them were just a few words, and some of them were a little bit longer. But it was just beautiful, and I read them, and I'm going through them, and we're trying to meet, and I keep interrupting with
Reading the cards.
with reading cards. And I looked at them and I said, this is it. It's about kindness. That's what I'm going to write about. I'm not going to write about hatred. So,
The piece was beautiful, David.
It was.
It really was
It
one of
was
the best
gorgeous.
pieces you've ever written.
Thank you.
And I encourage listeners, if you haven't read it, go to dallasvoice.com and hunt for it. It's by David Taffet, of course, obviously, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you're listening today or this week.
yeah, it'll be up online. What I was trying to understand, though, is this hatred that this person had. Where does that hatred even come from? I mean, it wasn't even sane and rational hatred. It was just, not that there's rational hatred, but it was just inhuman. Where does that come from?
Well, it's certainly a mental illness because that's a crazy thing to do, to hate innocent people.
A 97-year-old woman, who, by the way, was a relative of one of the members of Beth el-Banah.
And who survived the Holocaust, only to be shot down when she's
In her
church.
synagogue.
In a synagogue, yeah.
How do
it's-
you shoot a 97-year-old? How do you? What
And then-
forms of crazy is going
And
on
then
there?
plead innocent. I think that kind of hate is deep-seated and has been there a long time. So we wouldn't be surprised if we looked at his childhood and there was a lot of violence that went on there with him. And I think politicians who talk about fear and talk about hate can underscore someone who's on the brink.
Can empower them to actually
Yes.
act on their feelings.
But also, I think the age-old premise that the Jews somehow take something away from me. You know, I saw signs. Jews take our jobs. I thought, really? Jews take our money or have too much money or whatever it is, and it's not new. And that's what concerns me about people of color and LGBT
Oh, because
people.
immigrants take our jobs. People of color are taking our jobs. Pick a group.
Take our
taking our
places in
jobs.
college. We don't get the place in college because somebody else took it. Was kind of given it because of their diversity or whatever. It's it really is about fear of I'm going to lose ground on something. But with this kind of person, it is just murderous rage, and that's what he has and what he had.
Well, he said though that he was angry with Jewish people because they were helping the refugees coming in the caravan, which
And this synagogue especially was doing that because they had created an agency that.
Did this guy have a job?
Who knows?
Well, he did. I saw an interview with his boss, and I don't know what kind of business it was, but his boss was an out proud lesbian, and she said that when she spoke about being an out proud lesbian, he told her that she belonged in hell and would be going there. And
Because this kind of person cannot hold a job They can't get a job or hold a job, and unemployment is like 3.9 or something. There's hardly anyone that's unemployed. His life was not working for him. He was circling the drain, and I guess he wants to go out, pardon the pun, with a bang. But I will tell you, when I read your piece, David, and I think I wrote a note to you on this, that something horrific like this can bring out kindness. It's like nothing is all bad.
Right.
And that's what you wrote about, and I thought that was wonderful, because it does bring out the kindness in people to say, this is off limits. This doesn't work for any, political party or any religious affiliation. This isn't how we work here. This is a person who was mentally ill, and that's what it was, and he's untreated. He went untreated. And I don't know how you treat those folks. Lots of antidepressants, perhaps. But, he was just one crazy fellow and murderous.
But, I do hold Trump and his rhetoric accountable for much of it. This guy was obsessed with Trump. You could see the picture of his van. All the photos of his van was just covered in Trump.
That was the
pants.
bomber, wasn't it?
Oh, yep. I'm not sure. Was it this one?
No.
It was the bomber.
That was the bomber. Okay. But this guy.
But same thing. Murderous fella.
But this guy was caught up in that whole rhetoric about the invasion, which is, this caravan of refugees coming from Honduras that the people
That's
are dropping
falling apart
off
right now. Yeah.
Right, and
That's
by
too
the
long
time
of a
they
walk.
reach the border of Mexico and the United States, that they estimate that there will be about 1,400. And Trump has been saying, down from about 7,000, but 1,400 they think will make it, just on statistics of this happening before. And, Trump has been talking about this as an invasion, so much so that we would need to send the military to protect our country from these 1,400, impoverished, desperate
people,
asylum seekers who are escaping violence in their own country.
Poverty.
Just horrific poverty.
And
these are a threat to our country. And if you, he's been saying things like, the free press is the enemy of the people. Well, when we send the military to protect our country, in the past, it's always been because it's been a real and a serious threat to our national
he's calling
security.
This an invasion.
He is repeatedly calling it, and that's what this guy called it, was an invasion.
His words incite people, and what he wants them to do is go vote.
Okay, so here's what
What
I'm doing. The Dallas Police Department, if you think that Pittsburgh doesn't affect you here in Dallas, the Dallas Police Department had to assign one officer to do nothing but protection of the Jewish community and arrange for security.
And the LGBT churches here, they beefed up their security.
Sure.
Hate is hate.
Oh, sure. Sure.
And what else we know about hate?
So for our service this coming Friday, we're going to have a police officer. Trump is the one who told us and this was the first thing he said about it. The first thing he said was this wouldn't have happened if they had an armed security guard.
And yet the guy shot 3 police officers.
Well,
armed police officers.
I get that. So what we're doing is I'm sending him the bill. Why shouldn't I? He's the one who suggested it. He's the one who thinks it's required of me. I don't want to pay for it. Let him pay for it.
I think that's great, David.
and we could do the same thing when he says that we need to arm teachers in the classroom. Could send in the bill for that.
He's sending as many soldiers down to the border as there are people crossing over. If it's 1,400, he's sending 1,500. But that's how many we have in the Middle East.
It's way more than we have in Afghanistan. And, not quite that much. When he was saying 15,000 and then 5,200 he was going to send, and the Pentagon said no.
It's to get people to vote. It has nothing to do with what's going on.
Well, and one of the reasons we're doing security next Friday is we're worried that if the Democrats win, they're going to be furious, and who knows what's going to happen. And if the Republicans win, they'll be emboldened.
Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
be bad either way.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody, get out and vote. I don't care how you vote. Just vote for the candidate you think is the best, but vote. This is Pledge Drive, and let's just break our little happy talk here with because the next topic is equally
too.
depressing. It is Pledge Drive. The number to call is 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. One of our pledge premiums is the Lantern Festival on Saturday, November 10th at Texas Motorplex, which is 7500 US 287 in Ennis. At the Lantern Festival, thousands of revelers join together armed with lanterns for one unforgettable spectacle. There'll be music, dancing, face painting, s'mores, and when the time is right, we'll light up the sky with our highest hopes, deepest regrets, and fondest dreams. Gates are at 1:30 p.m. at Texas Motorplex Park. The event sold out last year, but we have a pair of tickets for a $50 pledge or a $90 pledge. Gets you a pair of tickets with a T-shirt, and we'll mail the tickets and the T-shirt. So we have to have the name and address and a credit card today.
Right.
So 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
Aaron and I did that lantern thing one year, not too long ago, and it was beautiful. It was a long evening while we waited for the sun to go down and be able. But they had music and entertainment while we waited for the sun to go down, and then everybody lit their lanterns. And some of them had some technical issues with their lanterns because they burned up right away. But others, as it just went into the sky, it was the most exhilarating thing we'd done in a long time. It was really, really pretty fun. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. Get those pair of tickets. $50 pledge or a $90 pledge gets you the pair of tickets along with a T-shirt. 972-647-1893.
And we have two pair.
We have two pair.
Two pair. Right. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. Along with that, we have all of our regular pledge premiums, T-shirts for are they a $50? They're a $50 pledge. Aprons for a $40 pledge. And for a $25 pledge, we have Knon plastic license plate frames. It's a great way to show that you're a supporter of Knon for a $25 pledge. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. I'm about to lose my voice. Why don't we take our break, and we'll be back with more Lambda Weekly right after this.
This is Rollins Golan, and I'm listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3, and darn glad to be doing it.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with the late Patti Fink. Lerone, we're not sure where he is because he told me last night, and I just don't remember. Last night was black tie dinner, and I have to tell this story. It's the sweetest story. I had met Matt Bomer, who was one of the main speakers. I met him yesterday afternoon at a Get Out the Vote rally. And we were just talking a little bit. I was taking pictures of him with a bunch of different people, and afterwards I said to him, tonight at the dinner, we're sitting a couple of tables apart. Could you do me a huge favor? He said, what? I said, my publisher is absolutely madly in love with you.
Leo?
Yeah, Leo is. So I said, could I come over, get you, and we'll just kind of walk real close over to Leo. So I go over at the dinner, walk over to his table. He said, oh, hi, David. We get up, or he gets up and puts his arm around me, head on my shoulder.
Oh, wonderful.
And we just walked over. Leo's mouth just dropped like, okay, what did David do now?
That's
It
cute.
really was very funny. So, sweetest guy. Just the sweetest
Handsome.
guy.
And you know what? That makes two stars of American Horror Story that you've encountered: Matt Bomer and Leslie Jordan, of course.
Yeah. Leslie
That's
Jordan,
pretty
of course,
awesome.
yeah. It is Pledge Drive, 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Phones are not ringing, and they need to be, because we have to do our share to keep the station on the air. Our expenses are really very low. Patti has a list of what some of the expenses are. It only costs what to run the station every month?
A little more than $63,000.
Right, and when you were working at one of those other stations, you made more than that yourself.
Did I? Because, I make a lot here.
Yeah, exactly.
And, again, I have to tell the story, when Gene Soslow, our good friend, joined the board, was asked to join the board of KNON, I, contacted him immediately and asked him could he please do this for us, our DJs and our hosts on these shows, and get a direct deposit of our zero salary, because then we could get that zero a lot faster. And he did it. I'm getting that zero immediately.
So it only costs $63,000 to run the show every month. If somebody calls in with a $180,000 pledge drive can end today.
We're done. Yeah,
we're done, which would be very nice. But seriously, 972-647-1893. Our expenses are very reasonable, but we still do have the tower lease. We have phone lines to get the signal from the station here down to the tower in Cedar Hill.
We have tower lease
here.
And we have a lease for the space here, sure.
The tower lease itself is almost $5,000 a month. It's $48.76, and the office rent, just for our space here to broadcast from, is $27.50 a month, and so that comes to $92 a day. So you could pledge $92 and take care of the office space for the station for one day. And 30 people or 31 people in some months could easily take care of that.
And phones are ringing, so
thank you.
We appreciate it. Candy,
yes,
I wanted to talk to you about another depressing topic because it's your birthday.
Yes, let's just bring us all down.
So a few weeks ago, I got a call from a friend of mine. We've known each other since we were 8. My oldest friend. Not that she's old, but there's no other way to say that. My longest friend.
Longest term
But she's
friend.
not long. Long-term friend. She's not long. She's not old. But we've known each other since we were 8, so we've known each other a long time. But she called. Her son had just committed suicide.
Wow.
So we grew up together in New York. She lives in South Carolina, but her son lived in Austin. So I said to her, whenever you go down to clean out his apartment, I will absolutely drop everything and be there. And the next week they came down. I went down with them.
You're such a good friend, David.
I wouldn't. She's like family.
I know, but who would think that? Who would think she needs help cleaning out the apartment?
Oh,
Which has got to be just heart-wrenching.
Yes.
well,
It was.
I mean, some of the things that we found, he had only been in this apartment for 10 days, and it was filthy. There were little signs of depression, like that only she would notice. She said he loved coffee. I found 6 jars of instant coffee out in the kitchen. That's not something that you would do if you're happy and you like coffee.
Right.
She said his coffee maker would have been the first thing that he would have unpacked, and he had a real good one. Anyway, it was for a medical reason that I don't need to go into, but he had a condition that they couldn't correct. They had tried 5 times with operations. And it's not excusing or whatever. There's such stigma that goes along with suicide, which is terrible. But he did leave a note, which most people don't when they complete a suicide. Usually the family or friends are left
Clueless.
Wondering.
And I know that from our grief group that we started after Brian died.
Do you know what the note said?
Explaining, telling everybody in the family that he loved them, and that explaining that this was entirely because of his breathing problem. He just couldn't live with it anymore. The day he died, he took his entire office out to lunch.
The day of.
The day of. But it was a Friday, and they didn't discover the body till Monday. They had to break down the door because he had bolted it. I don't have a question. Let's talk about this a little bit, because suicide is a huge problem.
Suicide is one of the most damaging thing you can do to your family, to your friends. They're left wondering, what if? Could I have done something? Was it something
what didn't I see?
did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was it I didn't see this? And it really is, it is all on that person. You know what I tell my supervisees that are in supervision with me is that you cannot make a person jump from that ledge, nor can you make them come back in from that ledge. It's all on them. And when they get to that point that your friend's son got to, it's all about looking inward. Mm-hmm. It's all about feeling for yourself just a tremendous amount of pain and maybe anxiety. It's not about being outside of yourself and thinking about other people. It is not. And yet, he did something like he took his work group out to lunch. Mm-hmm. That was definitely a goodbye. Mm-hmm. That's what that was. And
he had already decided by that point
how to do it, when to do it.
He was calm, he was peaceful, he was happy with his decision.
Well, that is what is so confusing to people, is because a person is suffering pain, suffering depression, and then they make the decision, and they feel better. So their mood goes up. Mm-hmm. And to anyone watching that, it's like, oh, they're feeling better. Well, they are, because they've made that decision. And in a lot of situations, you're saying this was medically instigated, so maybe mm-hmm. not here, but I still kind of think about it. It's just about, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I just cannot do this anymore.
You know, and in his case, what I'm saying with the coffee, that was depression.
Absolutely, but I wonder, did he go to therapy? Did he go talk to somebody? See, those are the things, mm-hmm. and then those are the things of, well, if he had, would that have helped? You know, maybe yes, maybe no. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a panacea to go to therapy. It gives you a chance.
Mm-hmm. Said the crazy therapist.
But I've always thought that going to therapy was very, very helpful, and I've done it at times in my life, because everybody goes through something at some point, and it doesn't mean you have to, you know, like I used to laugh at the Woody Allen movies, because he always had an analyst, mm-hmm. you know, like somebody to, like, a life coach that's mm-hmm. there, you know, year-round, 24/7 and everything, but we don't always need that. We need it to help adjust to some sort of life event a lot of times. And right. It gets us through it, you know.
And if you're feeling that low as he was, mm-hmm. then I wished he had, and maybe he did, because mm-hmm. we don't know that part. But what we know is that his mother is left with a lot of questions and a lot of guilt.
You know, when we went out to lunch during the day while we were cleaning out the apartment, you know, his father was just, he broke down, and he was just angry at him. Yeah. And why did you do this to me?
Yes.
There's so many bad feelings that don't come along with, you know, when Brian died, it wasn't, why did you do this to me?
Well, he didn't kill himself.
Right. That didn't come along with that
but
death.
You know, even though you could have been mad at Brian, you could have been. And that's part of it. That's mm-hmm. part of the grief process. Mm-hmm. That's part of the healing process. So I don't have any problem with people being angry at the person who died. As a matter of fact, it kind of gives you some energy.
Mm-hmm. And it's honest.
Yeah. It's human. Mm-hmm. That there's nothing wrong at all with being angry. Because you can be angry and still love somebody. That doesn't, you know, preclude you from your feelings.
And he was angry at the action, not at the person.
Yeah.
You know, and from the people that I've met whose partners have committed suicide now, it was a completely normal reaction, and that's what I told him.
Oh, good for you, David.
Let me give you some statistics, though.
Okay.
It's the second leading cause of death among people 10 to 24 years old.
10 to 24.
Yeah, so among youth. LGBT youth, not LGBT, LGB youth are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than the general.
Straight counterparts, yeah.
They're 5 times as likely to attempt. 40% of trans adults, 40% of trans adults attempt suicide before the age of 25. 40%. That's almost 1 in every 2. And LGBT people who come from families that reject them are 8.4 times more likely to commit suicide than those who come from a family that embrace them.
Right, and everyone that has had to come out, LGBTQ, thinks about, how will my family handle this?
Mm-hmm.
Will they quit loving me? Will they disown me?
Mm-hmm.
Will they take me to some hospital that, will do a lobotomy or whatever? It's a very courageous thing to come out. And everyone deals with that as they come out, I think. And not everyone kills themselves over it, but I'll tell you, with youth, it is very, very high statistic. Mm-hmm. They're just not old enough to be able to take that risk. Like, when I came out, I had a job. I was 20-something. I could take care of myself. Mm-hmm. I wasn't like 15. Mm-hmm. If you get disowned, you're out on the street, and there's a high number of kiddos, adolescents, who are on the street that are LGBTQ.
Right. About a quarter.
And that's because parents do disown you. Mm-hmm. That's hard to believe, but they do. So, yes, if you have a loving family, I think you have a better chance. But if you deal with depression, even if you have a loving family, like I think this friend of yours probably was a wonderful parent, that depression just does some things to you. But where you see someone else that's just had a horrible life and their parents disowned them, and just horrible things happen, and they're still going. They're still going. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how in the world. But the ones that deal with that depression, they can't do it. This kind of, if there's a little crack in the foundation, this breaks it open.
Let me give you a couple of other statistics. There are the last reporting year, which is, I think, a couple of years ago, there were 44,968 suicides that took place that year. That's 13.26 per 100,000. Men are 3.5 times more likely than women to commit suicide. Women are twice as likely to attempt suicide.
Wow.
I think it's hard to kill yourself. More men use guns than women, and that'll do it. Mm-hmm. Pills, you never know. Did you take enough? Did you not? Some people hang themselves. I figure that's a lot of self-hate right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just...
Did you had a caller, Penny?
Yeah, a caller, and thank you for calling, caller. He said that he had lost his son some years ago, and he said that he's really glad that we're talking about this today, because it's a really important topic, and that he got through it. There is a need to talk it out, and he recommended...
And with my friend, that was one thing that I insisted both of them go for counseling.
Good.
At the local suicide prevention organization, and that his younger brother and older sister both go.
Well, that's what this,
and I got them numbers. Yeah.
That's what this caller was talking about, that there is a need to talk to a therapist, and that it's nothing that they did, and it's important to have people check on them, and to seek out that kind of opportunity to talk to a trained therapist who can help guide you through.
That I'm so glad he called. That is correct. He did all the right things to take care of himself, and you'll want to talk to your friends. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think, oh, let's not talk about it because I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just listen. Just shake your head up and down, and I hear you. Mm-hmm. I know what you're going through,
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We're going to take a break for Pledge Drive. Candy, I know there was another caller, and that one was for you. It is Pledge Drive, and boy, after talking about this topic, it's hard to just jump right back into it. The number to call to make a pledge is 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. I want to thank Vivian for calling in and making a very nice pledge.
Thank you, Vivian.
Oh, it was in honor of your birthday.
Well, thank you, Vivian. I think I know who Vivian is.
I think I might too.
Yes, I think we all do. We love you, Vivian.
She has
and
pledged
Louise.
before, and we always appreciate it.
And has been on the show.
She has been on the show, that's right. One of the ways that you can pledge is to become a KNON Elite Music sponsor. You get a pair of tickets to every KNON benefit event for the entire year. KNON has shows every month, sometimes 2 or 3 shows in a month. For $500, you and a friend can go to every one of these shows. They usually include food, and
always include music.
They always include music, and you're making your money back on that $500 with just going to a few shows.
And you know what? We did this one year, and there's just something really special about having your name on the list all the time. So all you have to, don't worry about the tickets. Do you have the tickets? Do I have the tickets? I don't know. Did we bring the tickets? Are they in the glove? We got to go back for the tickets? No, you don't have to worry about any of that. Your name is on the list.
Scatterbrained.
Well, when it happens, it's
right.
kind of...
No, I know that. 972-647-1893. So you could become a KNON Elite Music sponsor for a $500 pledge. One of the reasons to support KNON is this station isn't like any other station. We do our own programming. We don't have programming out of one of the coasts. We do our own programming, and each show on this station programs itself. Had I suggested to the Suits that, hey, let's do a show on suicide, they probably would have said that's a depressing hour, especially during Pledge Drive. But we do our own programming, and all the music shows do their own programming. When we've done music, and other shows, there's lots of local and live Texas music. We've had a number of Texas artists on the show with us. In fact, we did a couple of music shows in October.
And an important thing to remember, too, is that, Lambda Weekly has been named Best Talk Radio one year, not too long ago.
Recently.
By the Dallas Observer, and most recently we were named in the top 20 LGBT podcasts in the country. So help us celebrate with a pledge.
That's wonderful.
972-647-1893. That's a way you can also vote this week. You can vote to keep us on the air. 972-647-1893. We have early voting, we have current voting, we have post voting, or late voting. So you can do it today, or you can do it tomorrow. You can do it Tuesday. Go vote, and then make a pledge to KNON online at knon.org.
And another way that you can pledge is online. Same way. You go to knon.org, but you can see all of the pledge premiums. There'll be pictures of them. You can choose your pledge premium. Just give them your name, your address, fill in their credit card number, and then pick your pledge premium, and let them know that you are pledging for Lambda Weekly, because the station does look at which shows get the pledges.
And if you can't spell Lambda, you can just put LW, or you can put that gay show or that queer show.
It's hard to spell Lambda.
It is. It can.
There's
an
N, a B, and a D.
It's always wrong on our station schedule. So,
is it?
Yeah.
It's hard to spell.
So 972-647-1893 is the number to call. 972-647-1893. Give us a call. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Lambda Weekly right after this.
Hi, this is Valletta Lil, and I listen to Lambda Weekly. I hope that you will too.
And this is Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with the late Patti Fink, and our guest today is Candy Marcum, and we're talking a little bit about suicide, because I had a suicide it was a friend's son who committed suicide just a few weeks ago. Before we go back to that, it is Pledge Drive 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Give us a call. Candy, we had a caller who was concerned that we were calling this the act of committing suicide selfish.
Right. And if that's how it sounded, that's not what I meant. So let me see if I can clear that up. What I meant by the person who is suicidal being focused on themselves, not necessarily in a selfish way, they're in a great deal of pain. And that's where they're looking. It's like anyone that has a chronic physical illness. You'll visit with these people, and they're focused on getting well, or they're focused on managing their illness, and they may not be as engaged with other people in their lives.
Well, my friend's son, his father was saying, "Why did you do this to me? He didn't do it to you."
That's right, but that's how it feels. So when I was first going to answer this question that this person called in on, was male or female? Female called in. I was going to talk about the anger, that because it hurt so much that someone killed themselves, that I don't want to feel that pain. I would rather feel angry. I thought that's what she was talking about. But I think what she was talking about is, are we being dismissive to the suicidal person, the person who feels all this pain, and we are not. I want them to get help. What do people say? Suicide is a permanent solution to a part-time problem. Mm-hmm. I want people to get help. There is help out there. We have the Dallas Suicide Prevention number. David, do you know the suicide prevention number?
The local suicide prevention number, 214-828-1000. The other one, just look it up online, is Trevor Project. If you're an LGBT youth and...
The Trevor Project, TREVOR, the Trevor Project. And they deal with LGBT youth.
Right.
It is about getting help. That's what we want for these folks. And I think there are plenty of folks who say, you know, I was in that place and I'm not in that place anymore, and I'm so glad that I'm not. Mm-hmm. And that should I see myself going that way again, I need to go see my therapist or my psychiatrist or whoever they're seeing. Mm-hmm. There's help out there. So I definitely want people to get help. Mm-hmm. We were kind of talking about after the loved one has killed themselves, then what happens with the survivors and what do they do?
Yeah, I made sure everyone in my friend's family went for help. And they're in different cities, and I got them numbers, and I insisted. I said that this was not against you, and what you're feeling is absolutely normal. You know, a lot of what they were feeling was what I was feeling after Brian died.
Yes.
They lost somebody, you know. Loss is funny. You prepare to lose a parent. You know that your parents are supposed to die before you do. A partner, one of you is going to go first, but you don't really talk about it. But you never talk about losing a child.
That's not how it's supposed to go.
Right.
The child is not supposed to die first.
So, yeah.
You know, when my mom passed when I was 24, really quite suddenly. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of hard to take. And I went to a therapist very quickly afterward. Had a lot of mixed feelings about all of it. And she didn't commit suicide, but or at least that we know of, right? But at the time, it was really, really helpful to go and hear that out. And one of my friends who had just lost her mom about a year before told me something that has stuck with me this entire time. And she said, you know, your relationship with your mom is unique. You have a lot of friends in life, you have other relatives, but your relationship with a parent is unique, and you will not go through this pain again because it is so unique.
Do you know
I found that incredibly comforting.
That helped, didn't it?
To go and like you're going to lose maybe your mom and your mom if your parents are both gay and you know, that unique relationship is really an opportunity to explore that and go through it fully. But know that you don't have to do it again. That's
what happened to you, is your mother died too soon for you to kind of work through all the family of origin things we get to do when someone lives like my mother did to 95. Your mother died
when I was 23.
Right.
Yeah.
I was 24.
Yeah.
And you just don't have the time to work it out.
Do you know, though, it was funny. People asked me, which was harder, your mother or your father, assuming that I would say my mother because I was younger and because you have this special relationship with your mother, I guess. My father died 30 years later when I was 53, and they were surprised when I said, well, you know, I never knew my mother as an adult. But I did know my father as an adult, and so we had a much more complex relationship, and that one was a hard one.
And 30 more years of intimacy, connection.
Yeah.
You just didn't have that with your moms because you had no idea.
Right. And your mother living to 95.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to say, oh, but she lived a good life. But I had, you know, you're in your extremely late 20s. You had all of these years with her.
All my life. I knew her all my life.
Yeah. You miss her.
Absolutely. So I think you're right. Longevity can have a lot to do with it, and maturing enough to kind of get what is that relationship between us. You know, it's different. It's different than when I was 23, and now I'm 53, and, or Dad,
by my,
however old that is.
By my arithmetic, yeah.
But I love it that you went to get help, because that's what they can talk about.
Right.
You know?
And I've been several times since, as things have happened in life, and I think it's a really good thing. And you kind of go out there and say, I don't know how long I'll do this and seek this therapy, or how, maybe I want to go twice a week for a while, or maybe once a week.
Or once a month. Or once
a month. Yeah. But when the time is right to stop, the time is right.
Right, and the therapist needs to support you in that. And say that this is a good place to stop, let's stop here, that kind of thing. I think the best thing for people is that it's a venue where they can hear themselves talk. It's not that I'm so insightful and give such great feedback. I think it's that people can hear themselves talk. And, that's what I think, and that's what I feel. I think it's great for that.
So when you're doing therapy, and it's somebody who has lost somebody through suicide, what are some of the other extra layers that are there? Because there are extra layers when it comes to suicide. It's maybe the suddenness of it is one of them.
Well, sometimes with people, you see it coming, and you try to get them help, and it just doesn't work. I had a good friend who committed suicide, and his partner tried everything, and we all tried, and it just it didn't work, and he committed suicide. I think the biggest thing is, could I have done something more?
Well, one of the people who is in my grief group, his partner, he always says, completed a suicide.
Yeah. He knew he was suicidal for years, probably.
No, he didn't.
Oh.
He came home and his partner had completed the suicide, and he had no idea. There was no note. There was no indication ahead of time. And he's really had to work on, why did he do it and what did I not catch? What didn't I see?
Because if I saw something, maybe I could have done something to stop it.
And I guess that's the guilt that a lot of people feel.
I should have seen it. I didn't see it, but I should have seen it.
That it is not always apparent.
No. A lot of times it's not. And then you blame yourself for that. Why wasn't I focused on it? Why didn't I see it?
There's a large statistic out there that started in the George W. Bush administration during that period of time when we had the Iraq War, and so many soldiers are coming home with so much PTSD that they're committing suicide at a rate of 22 a day nationwide. So this is not just a problem of people with medical conditions, like your friend.
Yeah, that's just an odd one. I hadn't heard of any others personally that were because of medical condition. That was just my jumping off point.
Well, Robin Williams committed suicide based on a medical issue.
But you look at the AIDS epidemic, and I mean, those guys got really, really, really sick. And I know some committed suicide. I mean, I assumed that. I didn't really know any. Because all the people I knew, they would say, clients of mine and friends too, when it gets to this point, or when it gets to that point, then I'm going to end my life. And what they found out is when it got to that point, they could handle it. And then it got worse than that, and they could handle that. And they went all the way to death, because we don't euthanize in this country. But at any rate, it's interesting, the people who commit suicide and the people who don't. I think it would just be a very interesting thing to look at. And my advice would be, is there's depression that ran through this person for a long time. And then they got some information or some disease or some event that pushed them over. But they were kind of toward the side, maybe.
And there's one person in my grief group, his partner said he was never treated for depression. There were no signs of depression. So
I think he uses such an interesting word, completed suicide.
and that he gets from the suicide center. But completed it meaning didn't just attempt, but completed it.
Yeah.
And died.
I mean, committed suicide. Doesn't that mean completed too? It's it's just an interesting word.
It's an interesting word, but that's what we've been using because that's what he's comfortable
they'll know.
with. Yeah.
They'll know.
It's certainly very different from attempt.
Or committed suicide.
Well, an attempt. How many times is an attempt a plea for help?
Well, I'll tell you how it could work. When they come to, let's say they took pills because they didn't blow their brains out and they didn't hang themselves or whatever. They come to, and they're very happy that they didn't die. I made it. I think God has a plan for me. I'm going to deal with this. Or they wake up and think, crap, here I am. I'm still here. I think it bifurcates just like that. So it'll be interesting, again, to talk to people who are in that much pain that are thinking about suicide. But it's one of those, I wasn't supposed to die.
We need to wrap it up a little bit.
Business owners, promoters,
I saw a chart ranking suicide by state.
About your business or event. You
would
can
think Texas would be pretty high.
Because we have guns.
Texas is actually 40th.
Isn't that wonderful? I love that statistic.
That is good. Not that it isn't a problem here, but that it isn't as high here as it is in other states. The number one state in suicides per capita actually is Montana, which just seems kind of random to me. I don't know.
Have you ever been to Montana?
Josh just said, have you ever been to Montana?
That could explain it.
Yeah.
I just think open land. I think not a lot of people.
Not having support,
Yeah.
that's a possibility.
That's right.
The number 50 state, though, is New Jersey. Again, seems interesting. It's the most densely populated state. So,
Again, have you ever been?
but have you ever driven through New Jersey? Yes, I have.
Maybe people move to Montana from New Jersey.
This is Lambda Weekly on Knon, and it is Pledge Drive. I want to thank Doc for calling in a pledge.
Thanks, Doc. Thank you so much.
One of the ways that you can pledge is with a bank draft. If you want to do a bank draft, which would be a monthly draft to support KNON, it's a nice, regular way that the station knows it can rely on income. And all you need to do is call us, tell us you'd like to start a bank draft, and we'll get your name and phone number, and somebody from the station will call you and help you set it up.
And
Give
that's
us a
the
go.
way you can give even some of the higher premiums.
You can get a higher premium, sure.
Then it's it's only $88 a month or something like that.
Sure.
Great point.
That's a good point.
Give us a
Glad
call.
You don't have a microphone.
Give us a call. This one picked up. Give us a call, 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
Tuesday is Election Day. It's your last chance to vote. And just a couple of quick things about that. You have to vote where you are registered. Unlike early voting, you cannot go to just any location or any place that was an early vote location. You have to find your location where you are registered. It's the only place you can vote. And make a plan. If you don't make a plan, you won't do it.
And
make
how
a
do you
plan.
find-
You're going the beginning of the day, you're going to go the middle, you're going to go later. If you're in line at 7 o'clock, if you are in line at
You'll get
7
to vote.
o'clock, you can vote.
But where do we find where our precinct is?
DallasCountyVotes.org. You can Google, if you're in Collin County or Tarrant County, Denton, Ellis County, Rockwall County.
Or you can go to the Texas Secretary of State's website.
You can also go to mytexasvotes.com and find out where you can vote. Bring your ID. You can also look up and see what kind of IDs will do. So make a plan. Do it. Be part of this change that's coming.
Yes.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893 is the number to call if you'd like to make a pledge. We'll stick around for a few minutes after the show, so if you want to wait till after the show.
972-647-1893.
Candy, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you'll be with us
much.
again for our February pledge drive.
Yeah, see you in February.
And for all of us here at Lambda Weekly, we'll see you next week.